had a lot of racist experience, but one of the most racist experiences was I was called black my whole life until 9/11 happened, and then they called me the freaking Taliban.
Yep.
Like, huh? So I'm black when it's convenient, but as soon as a terrorist attacks happen, now you see my Indian side? Like, it was just so ridiculous.
And we will find a way to move on. 'Cause if it's meant to be, then it'll be a love song.
Hey, it's Gabby Fe. Welcome back to my podcast. You may have seen my viral videos on The Shade Room, Real Toronto News, The Hollywood Reporter, etc., etc. We have a very special guest today, HALA the Hustler.
Yes.
She is a plus-size model, a painter, I just found out, a photographer, and we're going to get straight into it. Before we get to HALA, though, I do have an Am I the Asshole story that I want to share with the group. And we're going to give our opinions on it.
Yes.
All right. So, am I the asshole for wanting to give my fiance an ultimatum that if he doesn't go to counseling, we will not be getting married? So, to give some backstory, I think my fiance hates women. And here's why. Me and my fiance met online. We've been dating for a year. We got engaged about 6 months ago, and we decided to move in together and plan a small wedding locally. We both work to provide for ourselves and keep our households running smoothly. And although my fiance makes more money than me, I still contribute to be able to provide for our honeymoon and household items. And I want to be very clear. I love my fiance very much, and we communicate very well. And I've never been happier in a relationship thus far. He helps me out around the house, and he gives me money to pamper myself and do things that I enjoy. He gives me space when I need it and is very supportive of my goals and dreams. He also knows how to contribute to the household. Our intimacy is phenomenal and always has been. I have no major complaints. But the reason I think my fiance hates women is because of the way he talks about single women when we're out in public, and the way he refers to women when he's talking about something that he does not like about them. He often uses derogatory language to describe women and expressed his disgust. I always stop him to let him know that what he is saying is wrong and very weird. He also watches those weird-ass podcasts of the red pill community and men talking negatively about women. Even though I do agree with some of his ideas and gender roles, I still don't like the way he views women. He even makes fun of my single life before I met him. I was not super promiscuous, but that really doesn't matter. I was single and I acted like I was single.
Period.
Now, here is where I think the problem started. When my fiance was 8 years old, he was consistently abused by a babysitter until he was 12. She was in her 40s and he doesn't talk about it much. And I don't ask or pry because I know it's painful and embarrassing. I'm not even sure if this woman is still alive. And sometimes I think it might have been a family member. When he does mention it or bring it up, I do ask very vague questions, trying not to make him uncomfortable. I truly think his hatred for women stems from his abuse. I suggested therapy and counseling because he also suffered from PTSD from a horrible car accident and serving in the military and being discharged due to his injury. As of now, he shuts me down when I mention therapy, and I'm clear to not make it all about his abuse, but because of his PTSD too. It's gotten to a point where he wakes up because of his nightmares, and he also does not sleep, which affects his work in our relationship. He is now getting irritated with my mention of therapy in relation to his lack of sleep and nightmares. I suffer from anxiety myself, and I've been in therapy on and off since the age of 16, and I'm 31 now. I'm very pro-therapy and pro-mental health. I truly believe that everyone can benefit from some type of therapy. I told my fiance he's not the only person that has gone through what he's gone through, and that is not his fault, and he needs to free himself from his pain by getting help. Although I know that therapy is something that someone has to be ready to do themselves, I want to give him an ultimatum. And I know it's wrong, and maybe I shouldn't, but I really think his hatred for women is really scary. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand being assaulted as a child can have long-term, life-changing effects, but am I wrong for wanting to give him an ultimatum that he needs counseling or we will not get married at this time? We don't plan on having children, but I want him to be healthy for himself first and then for me. I should say that he isn't physically or mentally abusive to me in any way, and he takes good care of me so well, and I can't lie, I do feel very unattracted to him when he talks negatively about women. And at this point in time, I don't know what to do. Am I wrong for giving him an ultimatum? What do you think?
No, I feel like everyone is so scared to go to therapy. And I don't get it. Like, if it could even potentially better you, why not try? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, even just the potential for self-betterment. So no. And yeah, I think that would end up reflecting in her relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I am a full believer in therapy. I've gone to therapy on and off. I love therapy. But I'm going to play devil's advocate. So I've talked to some men, like, even like a couple of my brothers, I have like 4 brothers, but a couple of my brothers, family members, when I suggest they go to therapy, they're just like, maybe therapy works for you because like how you deal with things and you like to talk it out in your personality, but it doesn't really have the same effect on me. Like, I don't feel like I would benefit from talking to a stranger about my problems. I'd rather talk to like my best friend or someone I know, or, you know what I mean? Like, so people like have those like ideas too. I feel like a therapy is great because I love to unload, but I also love to listen. And like, if I could do anything else that I wouldn't do now, like I model, I do things like that. But if I wasn't a model, people ask me what I would do, I would be a therapist because I love to listen to people and I love to like hear people out and stuff. But for this situation, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for this guy because like obviously he's been through a lot. He has a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. I'm surprised that he's even able to be in a functional relationship with this woman, not be abusive towards her, not treat her poorly, and like be really good to her when he has all of these like personal issues that he's dealing with. I feel like he would benefit from therapy, but if he's like one of those guys who are like, oh, I don't need to go to therapy, then I feel like he needs to have some kind of confidant that's not his woman that he can talk this out with because it will strain.
But who else is equipped? That's my issue. Like, I feel like, and I've done therapy too. I'm even in family therapy right now. And I'm in it with my dad, and he's very like hesitant sometimes. He's like, this is stupid. I don't need this. We don't need it. You know, but like, who better than like someone who is qualified to do it though? You know what I mean? Like, I don't, and that's like my dad's thing too. He's like, talk it out, or we'll talk to someone about it. But it's like, they're not qualified to actually give us that. Like, are you gonna, you know, we make sure to learn from expertise. So why like do we think a friend can just do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I don't think she's crazy at all. You can be the devil's advocate, but it's a no for me. It's a no for me. Like, yeah. Because also, now this is my thing. If he goes once, twice, hates it, fine. But at least he tried. And I do feel like in relationships on a deeper level, like compromise is so important. So like, do it to make your wife shut up. Like, honestly, even if you, like, I tell my dad that all the time. Well, guess what? You can't, like, I don't say we have to go to therapy now because he goes. And that was my thing before in the past. It was like, Dad, we need therapy. We need therapy. Now he goes, I can't say that, you know? So like, it actually gets me to shut up too. And then
I love that. Because like getting your family to go to therapy and do family therapy, like my family has attempted, like a couple of my family members have attempted to get us to go to family therapy, but they're so, like, a lot of my family members so against therapy. I don't know if it's a culture thing or what, but they just do not like the idea of putting our business out there and letting people know our business. And I'm just like, well, healing comes when things come to light. You just got to express yourself. You know, people go have troubles and go through problems. Like, we all have something we're dealing with. Like, therapy is nothing to be ashamed about. Like, it's just not, you know?
That's my thought too. If he tries it and hates it, you know, once or twice, I'll even just say twice.
Yeah.
You know, go once, switch therapist if you don't like, try it.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, try it. Go once. If you didn't like the therapist, switch, go again. If you still don't like it, fine. You know?
Right.
And then also ask for what you want. Like, we were very particular. We wanted a Black woman therapist, like, period. My dad knew his daughters would be more comfortable with a Black woman, and he has respect for Black women. Like, so for us, that was important. And truthfully, we didn't feel like a white therapist could handle us. And whether they could or not, you know, whether that's a racial bias we have or something, you know, like, it helped us be comfortable too. We all wanted that. And
is your dad Black?
Yeah.
Is your mom Black?
Yeah, both of my parents are Black and white. So
they're both mixed.
Mixed. They're both mixed, so actually.
You're mixed.
Yeah, but I don't have one white parent or one Black parent. So
they're both biracial.
I identify as a Black woman because I always say, like, I didn't get raised by a white mom or Black dad. Like, both of them had color in them. I have, like, and then my family's from the Caribbean too. So
which islands?
My mom is from St. Lucia. My dad's from St. John.
No way.
So that's another dimension why I'm not gonna lie. I really don't say I'm mixed because, like, I didn't have a white American parent or a Black American parent either, and all my family was raised around Black people. You know what I mean? Like, so some of the racial dynamics that I feel happen to mixed girls, I didn't really have.
Oh, girl, I feel you, because and especially when you said you're from North Carolina, that's shocking because I'm Caribbean too, and there's a lot of different cultural differences between Black American, Caribbean Caribbean American.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of things that I don't relate to with some of my Black friends. I'm like, oh, maybe it's because I'm Caribbean.
Yeah,
Like,
but then
like
I definitely don't relate to white Americans, so I definitely fall. Gosh, I don't even know if I've ever said in public I'm mixed, to be honest. I don't say I'm mixed. Yeah. Only because, and I probably shouldn't even go on a rant saying this, but I just feel like growing up, I had a lot of mixed friends and they all had like a white mom and a Black dad. And just the dynamic I don't relate to, like with that. Like I didn't have one white parent. Both of my parents are clearly people of color, you know? And so I just don't feel like my experiences were limited to having a white parent.
How did your parents end up in North Carolina?
So technically just financially, for financial. So they immigrated to the States at a young age eventually because the white parent wanted them to have U.S. citizenship, which was probably smart, especially with my mom being from a third world country. They valued education, you know?
Yes.
So they both immigrated to the States and then just kind of traveled a lot with whatever my grandparents' jobs were, and then they met, and then they had the same DNA, which was like basically crazy, you know, like they both had a white parent and then one from the Caribbean. They had both just immigrated. My dad got my mom pregnant young, and yeah.
So you're a first generation American kid.
Yep.
Just like me. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what has your experience been as a first-gen Caribbean kid growing up in North Carolina? Did you feel like you couldn't relate to other people?
Oh my God, absolutely. Like complete. Also, which is why I don't really identify as mixed. Like growing up, we didn't even really talk about race because I'm sure you know in the Caribbean, like it's mixed up. Like there's Indian, Trinis, like you name it. Like I feel like race itself isn't as much as a conversation. It's more like what island are you repping? You know, what country are you repping? So growing up, and I talk to my mom about it all the time because I'm like, Mom, you needed to talk to us about race, but she didn't even know how. I think like even with her mom was white and her dad was from the Caribbean, but her mom didn't talk about race and it wasn't a thing. Like she wanted to be in the Peace Corps. She dated every color of men. Like it wasn't a thing. Yeah. So even that, my mom never brought it up. And then I remember probably and then my name's Mahala. So everyone thinks I'm Hawaiian.
I thought it was Hawaiian too. Mahala sounds Hawaiian.
And then everyone thought I looked Indian, like from India. And then like everyone thought I was Latino, you know, racially ambiguous as hell, unfortunately, because so when I started school, I remember even like in elementary school filling out the like what your thing is, and I didn't know what to put. I literally like asked my teacher like, what the hell is this? And then she goes, Mahala. Oh, you're Pacific Islander.
That's so racist. That is so racist.
Let me be clear. My Scantrons from like kindergarten to whatever are messed up, like wrong consensus. I just didn't know. And then I remember by middle school, it was like, what are you? And I constantly got asked that. And then I remember there was a big divide. It's North Carolina, still hella racist. You know, there was a big divide. And I just went towards the Black kids. Like to me, yeah.
I understand. I grew up, so my mom is Indian from Trinidad.
Exactly.
Right? You know, my dad's from Haiti. But like in my school, I grew up under predominantly, I think they call it PWI, predominantly white institution. And so there was like no anybody else. Like there was literally white. It was like if you flip through the yearbook, it'd be like white, me, white, my sister, and that was it. Okay. So like they didn't have anybody else to relate to us. Like they just called us Black. And when I tried to explain that I was mixed with Indian, like my mom is Indian, they didn't get it. And then my teacher would always put like Black or other for me. And like, I just had like so many identity crises because like, it was just so, and then one time, this is the most I had a lot of racist experience, but one of the most racist experiences was I was called Black my whole life until 9/11 happened. And then they called me the freaking Taliban.
Yep.
Like, huh? So I'm Black when it's convenient, but as soon as a terrorist attacks happen, now you see my Indian side. Like it was just so ridiculous, you know? So like, I mean, I understand.
Yeah, no, I'm actually shook right now because I know you understand. Mm-hmm. And then because of colorism, people are so ignorant. Like how are you Indian? I'm sure they're like, you know, and it's like, yo, like thank the Lord society now understands you can be Black and from other countries.
Thank God. I literally woke up this morning. I was like, God, thank you that I was that I'm alive in 2023, that I'm alive to see the progression, because if I would have, like, God forbid, died in the 90s, which I love the 90s, but damn, it was hard for, like, people to really accept, like, different diversities and things like that. You know what I mean? So it was so nice to, like, have the experience. And I feel like TikTok has changed that. Social media has changed that. People are really opening their eyes to, like, wow, it really is, like, different races out there. Different,
yes.
You know what I mean? There's a world.
And you can have a race and an ethnicity, because race is this made up construct in the first place. But so I get it. Yeah.
That is so crazy.
That's crazy so funny. Too. And that's funny because that was my definition too. I was like, there's Indian Trinis. Like, you know, but also I'm sure you had that experience too. Well, wait, where are you from though? In the States?
Oh, okay. So I was born in New Jersey, raised in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so you had better places than I had. Okay, you had more diverse places. But also in North Carolina, my mom told me I was West Indian. That's all I knew. So then everyone thought I was from India because they didn't know what the hell West Indian was.
It's like, who are they educating us in geography? Like, how do we not know this?
Still to this day, nobody knows. If I say I'm West Indian, which is what I would be ethnicity-wise, I would be West Indian. No one knows what the hell that is. Still.
That's so sad.
Still, yeah. So then also, and it's not like my mom explained, I just knew, like, I go to St. Lucia and it's in the West Indies. Like, I'm West Indian, you know? Yeah. And so I remember everyone was like, oh, she's Indian. Like,
people used to call me Pocahontas. Pocahontas is Native American. She's not Indian. Like,
it's actually exhausting. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. So no, I'm dead that we're having this conversation actually, because I don't think we had any idea. Yeah,
I had no idea that you were Caribbean. Yeah, girl, I had no idea. Yeah. That's why I put my flags in my bio so people know.
Well, okay, so I'm like, and me and my sisters debate this all the time. I'm conflicted with doing that. Sometimes I do. I'm like, yeah, but then I wasn't born there. I haven't been there that much, and then my parents did eventually move to the States. So sometimes I don't, like, you know, I still have such limited experiences. Like, I've been, but I'm an American. I don't like to. I wish I could be like, I'm an island gal, but I am not. I'm as American as it freaking gets. So.
Me too, but like I grew up in such a Caribbean. Like, my parents are old school Caribbean. Like, I woke up to Bollywood music playing in the morning. My mom making curry chicken and roti. After I graduated, I think college, I like spent like 6 months living in the islands, like with my mom, and like, you know what I mean? Just
That's
like really
what I needed. I needed to live there for a few months. I still need to do it. I just need to go to, even if I go to like St. Thomas right next to St. John, like, I need to do it.
Come to Trinidad Carnival.
I know.
Next year I'm
doing my first carnival in St. Lucia this year.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Carnival in the islands is so different because there's no rules. People are like bouncing off of ceilings, like on roof. Like, there's no rules in the islands when it comes to Carnival, because the whole country celebrates it.
Trinidad
so they
Carnival
shut it down.
Lit. Yeah.
And Nicki Minaj was there this year. I'm so mad I wasn't there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to St. Lucia Carnival and St. Thomas, seen it, but I haven't played Moss. So I'm actually finally jumping. So yeah, I'm like, then maybe I'll identify as an island girl for real, okay? Because I'll have the pictures, like, y'all need to know, you know? So
I love
that's
it.
funny.
So Hala, I want to get into something.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, I think a week or two ago, Rolling Loud, I went to Rolling Loud that came to Los Angeles. I'm a Forever 21 ambassador, so I went with Forever 21. And you know, this is my first time going to Rolling Out. Like, I just moved to LA from Brooklyn. Like, I'm still new here. I'm still trying to figure out this whole LA experience. Then I saw your TikTok about your terrible, horrible experience at Rolling Loud, and I want to know what happened. So tell us.
Yeah. So long story short, I go to bed at 8 o'clock, y'all. Like, I am not hip. I am an old woman, okay? But my friend, and I'm trying to get more out. Like, I would rather be alone, but I'm like, you know, you gotta be cool, Hala. Like, you still young, you know? So my friend's like, hey, a big promoter I work with all the time is having me come to Rolling Loud. I sent him your page already. He loves you. Like, come through. Cool. I was like, I remember literally being like, you sure you sent him my page? Not because I've ever been rejected, just I don't have time to waste, you know? So I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, he liked all your pictures. He said I can bring more friends. Cool. That was like probably 3-4 weeks ago. Then whenever, a few days before, she circled back in like, hey, are me and my friends still good to come? He's like, hell yeah. Once again, you can bring more people, like whatever. Cool. So she's like, cool, confirmed. And we were supposed to go all weekend. Cool, whatever. We get dressed. You know, I clear my week, and I actually had plans, but I was like, okay, I'm not even a music head. So like, I'm like, you know what? I'm cool though. You know, like I'm actually kind of excited. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll like it, you know? And it was just one of those things. I can afford to go to concerts. I don't love them. That's why I don't go. You know, like I'm noise sensitive, all this. But it was something like, I'll be with my best friend, you know, and have a good time. Like, that sounds fun. We'll be in a little section. Like, cool. And so cool, we get all ready. I cleared my schedule, like cleared paid gigs, all this. Like, I'm like, you know what? Let's have fun. Like, you don't do enough. So cool, get our nails done. She made outfits. She's a designer, whatever. We go. We get there. He literally he goes and hugs my friend. And there was 2 other people that were like getting in with us. He goes, hugs my friend. I give him a hug too. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I don't know who he is, but I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know? Then he like walks away. Then he calls the guy over. He talks to the guy. I mean, I don't think we really...
Who's this guy, the promoter?
Yeah. So, well, no, the promoter calls some other guy who's coming in too. Oh, okay. So it was like a couple coming in, waiting, trying to get in with him too. So he calls him over, and then the guy comes back, and a clown ass nigga too, okay? Because he was like, hey, yeah, he wanted to let me know that you can go in talking to my friend, but she can't. And
he said it to your face?
Not the promoter. He had this guy come and say it. Little punk. Anyway, so I was like... And I'm not gonna lie, I was just confused for a second. Like, and I don't do nightlife, so like I'm just confused. I'm like, so I don't even jump to conclusions at first. And my friend's like, he said what? And he had you come say that? Like, he couldn't even say that? So she goes up, and I'm like kind of following behind her. Once again, I'm kind of like, I think I'm just irritated. I'm like, I don't even like this stupid ass shit. I didn't even like, I was going to be with my friend, you know? And then he was like, yeah, there just ain't enough tickets, you know, but ain't enough to... Exactly. So we get in the car. My friend was like, you know what? Like, we need to expose him. Like, that's some bullshit, you know, whatever. Long story short, and we knew what it was. Like, because me and her have been told our whole lives we look alike too. Like, similar. And so we knew what it was. The only difference was pounds. Okay. You know, I'm bigger. I'm heavier. And yeah, long story short. So I ended up posting it, of course. And then... he called me a B word and all that.
Oh, he actually reached out after your post?
He reposted. He was like, clownery, trying to get clout off of me, blah, blah, blah.
Who is this man that you're trying to get clout, that you're trying to get clout, and you're a paid plus-size model, a legit agency-signed plus-size model? You need clout from a promoter? A club promoter at that? There's a dime a dozen in LA for club promoters. Sir, you're not special?
And you're not special too, but you get this too. I'm at a point in my life... I get invited to stuff like this as a special guest. Like you said, you were there for... Typically, I don't do stuff like that unless it's through my agency. Yeah. So it was just ironic, too. And then that's where I am cocky, because I've worked hard for my career. I'm like, I could afford this whole section. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, but what pissed me off even more is... what if I couldn't afford this section, too? It cost us like $60 or $70 to park. You know, I paid for it.
$60 or $70 to park a car for this music festival?
For Rolling Loud.
That's wild.
Okay, I paid for that, you know. I got stuff to thank my friend, you know, like I ended up spending even money to get there because I wanted to actually have fun. I wanted to thank my friend for the opportunity, you know, like show her a good time. And like even that though, but I'm like, what if I didn't even have those resources? Like me, even a year or 2 years ago, didn't. So that would have hurt me. That $70 for parking for an opportunity would have really hurt me. And then it pissed me off too, because luckily I can clap back. I know I can afford it. It's not that deep. But the fact is, like, how many other women did he turn down too? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like also, I'm sick of Black men saying they love Black women if you're willing to waste a Black woman's time. Like, it was nothing for him to originally say, like, nah, then my friend would have never even invited me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this all could have been avoided, but, like, he even went through and liked, like, my picture and stuff. So, like, how did we get from A to B?
He sounds disgusting.
How did we get from A to B? And then, like, some people are like, you're wilding, you're doing too much. And I'm like, no, you guys are, like, missing the point. If he had originally been like, you got another friend to bring, like, someone else, cool. My friend would have never told me. She would have never, like, we checked in. Like, this was a whole thing. Like, you
wasted your time.
Yeah, you literally wasted my time. And then he went on a rant saying, like, I love Black women. He, like, started uploading, like, that there were plus women in it. And I'm like, stop with the narrative that you love Black women.
But he didn't have enough tickets. That was his excuse. But he didn't have enough tickets.
Better. So next day, my friend, I'm like, we need to get him saying I was too big, though. Like, try. So she messaged him, and he was like, yeah, it just wasn't the right look. it wasn't the right look, but I'm sure you can bring another friend who's the right look. And then she was like, what's the right look? You know, we're trying to guess. But he was smart enough not to flat out say. So then he goes, someone who looks like you. But that's the gag too. Everyone says me and my friend look alike. The only difference is I'm taller than her. I got some gap teeth, and then I'm bigger. So I was like, maybe he could have said that too. He could have said, you know, we don't want girls with gaps, but you didn't. So yes, I'm gonna jump to the conclusion it was I'm big, and I know that's what it was, but yeah. Wow. And then apparently he like went on live. After I posted, I was kind of over it, you know, but he went on live and said he didn't let me in because of the way I was dressed. And then apparently he said like her friend knew how to dress, and the gag of that is he was like, the friend's like a designer too, and she designed my outfit. So like the whole cab, like it was such cab, like so annoying. I mean, I'm over it now, but I'm just like, I'm sick of it.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I saw that you like either talked to Bunny, who's the founder of Rolling Loud. Was that?
Oh, no. She's not the founder. It's just one of my friends. And then when she hit me up too, she's not even plus size, but she's a model in this industry. And she was just telling me like too, like, and it's even worse for darker skinned women, Mahala. Like imagine being dark skinned and plus. And I'm no dummy to like the privileges I have with being light skinned. And I thought about that too. And it actually put me in a whole nother mindset about what my heavier, darker skinned friends probably deal with on a regular. And then I'm even thinking about like, they probably never want to go out. Like I even have instances with friends now where I'm like, that's probably why they didn't want to go. Aww. You know what I mean? And it just like was full circle. And then of course, you know how the internet is, and I got dragged there. Like, you're trying to now talk for Black women. It was a whole thing. You don't even look Black.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know how that goes. You're just, and then someone was even like, you know, you're trying to like market off Black women. I'm like, okay, y'all. If that's what you got out of it, okay. Like,
one, you're a Black woman. I think that's really ignorant for them to say. Two, you're allowed to talk about your experience. You had a really bad experience. You're saying it. What's the problem?
And I'm speaking out. And then for me, I'm always going to speak out on colorism because not enough light-skinned women do it. Mm-hmm. So you can drag me for that, but I'm going to speak up on it because colorism is a huge problem within this community, and I know I have privileges from it. Mm-hmm. And when my darker friends speak out on it, they're angry Black women. So I'm going to be the light-skinned girl who has the privilege to speak up for darker-skinned women, period. Like, I'll take any backlash, period. Like, period.
I feel you. Because there's certain things, and I'm like, I feel like my personality is more temperament. I'm a middle child, so like I have middle child energy, you know, like my temperament's more like, I guess, friendly and, you know, whatever. But like the way I see some of these girls get away with going off, I know if I even attempted or tried to get angry in public and go off, I would get like tased or some shit. You know what I mean? Like
literally,
it's ridiculous. It's
and I'm not
ridiculous.
Flexing my privilege, but I'm damn sure gonna use it to speak up for women that I fucking care about. Like, I know as a lighter skinned woman, I am able to talk about it with like less backlash than a darker skinned woman. So why the fuck wouldn't I? And that's another reason I like saying I'm mixed, because most mixed girls wouldn't do that, you know? And that was another thing too. I just grew, of course, like I said, my mom was mixed with Black and white, but all of her siblings married someone Black. So my cousins were 3/4 Black, technically. All of them are darker than me. Like, I grew up with, I was the only one in my family who looked like how I looked, you know, popping out. And just, I'm like, some of these mixed girls like must not have Black cousins or something, because they're so disconnected from reality and colorism. I'm like, I actually have a Black cousin. I saw it firsthand from a young age, who was darker skinned, and the way she got treated, you know.
Yeah, like I said, even North Carolina, I could only imagine. Like, I grew up in the South, but it was Florida. It was like the North and South. Florida is very racist in my experience, but I can only imagine like the disconnect in the heavy South, like the Bible Belt South. The disconnect there is probably way worse in terms of that. And I just couldn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
I could not imagine.
Horrible. And not for me. I mean, I probably had the best of it, you know, because I was still racially ambiguous enough to like be whatever someone wanted me to be. But like, I don't know, I have darker skinned friends, and I just know I witnessed what they went through all the time. Like,
so how did you end up in LA?
So I was a full-time painter for a few years, and I just wanted to get out of North Carolina. I always knew I was like liberal. I was so young. I didn't know I was liberal. I didn't call it that, but like, I needed to be in a more liberal place. So less racist, less that. Yeah.
How long have you been in LA?
I moved to LA 2017, but my dad was military, and eventually immigrated here. So I've kind of like grown up coming back and forth. So yeah.
So like, tell me, so you're, you know, a successful plus size model. You've been doing a bunch of campaigns I've been seeing. How did you become a model and how did you get into this industry?
Yeah, so I was, like I said, full-time painter. When I lived with my roommate, when I first moved out here, I grew up with her and she was an amazing actress. So I kind of got exposed to like that. And then I had art shows, like I was killing the art thing. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to paint, still all I want to do. But yeah, so I was kind of exposed and I kind of liked it, but I was actually never the one who liked the spotlight. And it's funny now because I remember when I moved to LA, I got, like, people had me model for stuff. So, like, I had modeling experience, but I didn't want to. They were just like, you're pretty, please. And I was like, okay, I'll help a small back business. You know, like, I wasn't getting paid, and I didn't like it. I never liked it. But then when my friend was an actress, she always needed, like, headshots and stuff. So then I bought a camera, and I kind of got into photography. I was like, I'm going to be a photographer. And then that kind of transitioned in me to, like, directing models, learning how to do that, you know, set design with my art, just kind of all that. Like, I've always been artistic. And then I got severe carpal tunnel and arthritis in my hand. And I mean, it got to the point like my hand felt like it was going to fall off if I painted. And I was just mass producing, not making enough. Like I was living in insanity, like a poor struggling artist, you know? And that was right when COVID hit too. So I was like, yo, I gotta like do something else. I was actually back in North Carolina with my ex living there again. And I just like, I was so depressed, miserable. I couldn't do what I loved. I was like working in warehouses, like hustling. This is only like 3 years ago. It's crazy how quickly life can change. So either way, I remember I was in those warehouses and I was like, I gotta do something else. Like, I can't do it. Not that there's anything wrong. Shit, that paid the bills, you know? But like for me, I was just like, what is life? I didn't have education. Like, what can I do that I'll enjoy? And then I was like, what do you know about modeling? I kid you not. One day I was like, what about modeling? Like, you're tall. I was like, plus size modeling is in. You're plus size now. You know, like what? Like, you're tall, HALA. Like, you can't like, so I did some research, I kid you not, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I didn't know how. My goal was just to be signed with boutique agencies and like make enough to like start a small business doing something else, you know, just like a little model. But luckily, North Carolina, ironically, has like a powerhouse mother agency. And
really?
Yeah, so I did research and I was like, I have to sign with them. Like, and once again, my goal wasn't even, I never thought I could sign with the agencies I'm signed with now. That was never even my goal. I thought that was so not gonna happen, you know? But I signed with them and I told them, I was like, I wanna be a supermodel. And I was kind of like even joking, honestly, when I said it, like to an extent, like, yeah, I wanna be a model, but like, and then they were like, okay, like, and I was like, okay. And then I connected with that agent. I was like, and then I started realizing like, wait, this can happen. You know, I started working for their little clients and I was like, no, I really want to be a supermodel. I was like, I'm going to learn to be a supermodel. And within 6 months of being signed, I signed with IMG Worldwide. So I was with them. Yeah.
No freaking way.
Within 6 months.
How did you get on IMG's radar? How did that happen?
Yeah.
They're the biggest agency in the world.
Yeah. Honestly, it sounds so corny, and I hate when I give corny advice because it sounds so generic, but like believing in yourself. Like after I transitioned to realizing, like learning more about the industry, being signed, I was like, oh no. And then I did research. I friended models. I was cash apping models for advice. Like, hey, like, and I paid people. I paid photographers. I worked on my book, you know, but I just really decided like I have to give it my all. I always say I have crackhead energy though. Like when I want something really bad, if I focus, I'll figure it out. Like same with even being a full-time artist. I didn't make a lot of money, but I was a full-time artist, you know, so yeah, and it's just been beautiful. But that's how, yeah, I was just believing with myself when I interviewed with IMG. I was like, I'm gonna sign with one of the top agencies in the world. I'm not kidding on the interview. Crazy. Now I'm like, I cannot believe you said that. But I was like, I'm gonna be a supermodel. So like, take me. Yeah.
Manifestation at its finest. I love that you just said, I'm gonna be a supermodel. I'm gonna sign with IMG, and it freaking happened.
Yeah. And then of course that was like once I got into like, I'm actually with Wilhelmina now. I'm not with IMG now, but even with that, I was like, yeah, I'm only, and then like sometimes instant gratification is important though. And I tell people that all the time. I've been blessed to like get instant gratification. Even I got signed quickly. I got to IMG quickly. But you need to have goals that can get you some sort of instant gratification so you'll keep going. If that makes sense.
Right.
Like, you need it. Even if it's just to I need 100 views on a YouTube video. Make sure to get it because that's going to keep you going. And so once I got into IMG, I mean, I was like, oh, I'm definitely finna be a supermodel now. You can't tell me anything, you know? And of course, I eventually left them. It just wasn't the right fit. But yeah, and now like I'm with 𝐸𝐸𝐸. I love 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸, and
they're legendary too.
Yeah.
𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸's a legendary agency too. They've been around forever.
No, I'm so happy with them. Like I love them, and now like it's happening, you know? And same thing with them. Like a few weeks ago, they had me come in, and they already knew who I was. Like by the time I signed with them, I had way more experience. You know, I was like, I want to be with a good agency that likes me. But even a few weeks ago, they had me come in, and I was like, I want to remind you guys, I want to be a supermodel. So like we had a discussion about what I need to do to be a supermodel. Like, but I think too, when you believe in yourself so much, and it sounds corny, but when you believe in yourself so much, people believe in you because you believe in you. If you doubt yourself, people doubt you. So my agents at 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸, my agents at One, I'm with One New York, they know what I stand for, and they know I'm not settling for less. So yeah, and I mean it's work.
What you want.
Yeah, I mean it's hard work. Let me not act like my agent.
What's hard about being a model?
The rejection, probably the rejection, and just keeping going, like not caring. I mean, I would love to say I don't care, but you know, still like even this week, I can't say the client, but I interviewed with a client and I knew and I never think I get a casting. Like I've learned that, you know, but I was like, I got it. The casting director already knew me. She had just hired me for my biggest gig. She loved me. She hugged me. I even texted my agents and I was like, I never text y'all this, but I know I got it, right? They passed on me this week and I was like, really? And even my agent was like, you got it. And she don't say that either. But yeah, so like just dealing with that, like, and then not letting it take from your worthiness of something, if that makes sense. So like, just because I didn't get that didn't mean I wasn't worthy of the opportunity. It just wasn't for me. Maybe even right now, maybe it's for me next week, you know, or maybe it's not for me at all, but just like managing that. And then just, it's a shitty industry. It really is. It's a shitty industry, and knowing and being okay with it being a shitty
Do they
industry.
ever talk to you about your weight? Like, you need to lose weight, you need to gain weight, you need to stay the same? Like, do they talk about your body a lot when you're in these meetings with these agents and clients?
I think sometimes it's implied. I feel like we're in a generation now where people are careful of what they say because of cancel culture. And I'm definitely a problematic model. Like, you know, I talk about the industry. So let me be clear. Are any of my agents going to say, ''Mahala, you're fat"? No, because I'm going to expose them on social media and they know this. So I am a problematic model. Like, don't necessarily be like me, you guys, okay? I don't advise it. Only because too, I am willing to lose my career to make a difference. So if you're not willing to do that, like that's something, I mean, 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸, if they wanted, could drop me tomorrow, you know, if they really wanted. So like, but I'm okay with that. Like, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. So, no, they haven't. But I mean, I'm like, even the other day, God, this is why I'm so problematic. I'm not supposed to be saying none of this shit. But the other day I was talking to one of my agencies, I won't say which one, and they were like, hey, can you confirm your measurements? And I sent them, and I've gained so much weight since the last time they took my measurements, like probably 20, 30 pounds. So they were like, are you sure these are your measurements? And they were like, because your last measurements were inches shorter. And I was like, yeah, they literally said that. But like, she didn't say it was bad. And then she goes, well, it's a good thing they want a size 20 now because you're pushing that. And I'm not even close.
Oh, no, she did.
Yes, yeah. So like, it's implied, but of course she like switched in a good way. Like they want a bigger girl either way.
They want a size 20.
Yeah,
you're there anyways.
But like, it was also, she's definitely like, wait, I know she was like, you gained that much weight since we took your measurement and did, okay? And did. We're here. What we gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. And I'm sure though, I'm not gonna lie, this industry is so fucked up. My agents just know who I am. I wouldn't be surprised if they tell another plus size model she's too big, you know, because she won't speak out on it. You know, like people in this industry take advantage. And I love all my agents, to be real. Like I finally have teams that I like. Same. But I don't put it past them that they're not maybe mentally abusing someone else, you know what I mean? Just because they don't do it to me. So
well, they know who they can mess with and they know who they can't mess with. So that's probably why.
And that's why, once again, it sounds corny, but like believe in yourself and stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, but once again, you have to be willing to take risks. Like I do tell people I am, and I'm not bragging, but I am a problematic model. Like my agents, I do know, which I don't love because I wish we were more comfortable. I know they, to an extent, walk on eggshells with me. You know what I mean? They're like, if we say this, 𝐸𝐸𝐸𝐸, like I've definitely went off on all my agents for something, you know?
And they didn't drop you?
No.
Girl.
No. But that's what I'm saying. It's a blessing too. But I think I positioned myself, and I've luckily played the right cards at the right time, if that makes sense. So
so you're big enough now so you can like say what you want and they're not gonna drop you because you're making the money. And I've been there. I know.
Yeah, and I'm not bragging about that because there was a time I wasn't too.
Yeah.
When I was first just with my mother agent, I stayed quiet for months. Like even when I first got with IMG, I wasn't at a place. Yeah, I was with IMG, but I wasn't at a place in the industry. I didn't have clients.
Well, what's some of the coolest like clients and campaigns that you've done as a model so far?
So believe it or not, everyone thinks I do a bunch of campaigns. I don't. I'm like ecom girl. Like
girl, ecom is the cash cow. That's where all the money is.
But I'll be real. Like of course
is.
I want campaigns. You know, that's of course the end goal. But yeah, I'm an ecom girl. I've actually only done 2 campaigns, actual campaigns. Everything else is ecom. Yeah.
Really, honestly, even though like ecom is not as like, you know, in your face billboards and things like that, I love a good ecom client because they keep on hiring you. The checks are fat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You always have like money coming in. I love when I can do ecom. Fit. I'm a fit girl. Like I've been doing fit for 8 years in New York City. And like I've done, I mean, obviously I do campaigns and billboards
Where
now,
are you
but
signed
like
with?
I'm with State, Bi-Coastal, and a manager and like a couple of acting agencies.
You're with State New York or LA?
State both. So
okay,
yeah,
dope,
so I'm doing
dope.
both. State
Okay.
New York and State and Bi-Coastal New York and
Dope,
LA.
dope.
But out here I'm mostly with Bi-Coastal and doing LA and things like that. So
dope.
yeah, so I'm like it's been really good and I'm like really happy about it. I feel like the last year and a half that I've been in LA, there's not as much fit here as it is New York because a lot of production happens and goes through New York. But since being out here, there's been a lot of like campaigns that I've been a part of, lot of shoots. And I'm like, wow. And like it's so beautiful to shoot out here in LA because you guys have like like productions will rent out mansions and you can see all of the hills and valleys. I'm just like,
it's beautiful.
You'll
be like on a hill in Malibu for like.
It's such a blessing.
Yeah,
it's like, what world is this? Like I was like 2 months ago, I walked into this like mansion because I was hired to do a photo shoot. And I'm like posing in the kitchen in my little outfit that they have me in. I turn around, I see John Legend. We're in John Legend's house. And
I love John Legend. I would have cried. He's actually, no, I'm obsessed with him. Like, I'm actually, yeah, no, I'm not. Y'all, not obsessed with money.
Legend.
I love John. Like,
when I tell you I couldn't breathe and I was posing.
Bring me in your house. I'll have dinner with Chrissy. No, like, I'm obsessed. I love
him. He was literally microwaving his leftovers and stuffing his face, watching me model in his kitchen. Like, it was wild. I'm like, what is this? Only in LA.
You were doing his liquor company?
I was doing Chrissy Teigen's Cravings line, and she hired me as her plus size model.
I'm actually jealous. Okay,
I know.
Like I'm envious of you right now. I'm jealous.
I was like her first plus size model on her side. I got this cute little robe and these pajamas. It was so cute.
I know what their house looks like because I like stalk them. So oh my god, no, that's so beautiful. But that's one thing I do just love about this industry. Like you never know. You meet all types of people. We cross paths. Like it's so dope. You know. But
I love it.
It's also really shitty, but really great.
It's also really shitty. And like in New York, you're in like warehouses and that has like it's like, you know, culture and artsiness too, and that's cool. Like we do a lot of warehouse shoots, we do a lot of rooftops. Rooftop shoots are pretty dope. I do love the rooftop shoots, but here just like, oh my gosh, you guys are in heaven here. Like the West Coast is so beautiful.
It really
you can't beat that. So you do a lot of ecom. I guess that keeps you busy. I saw that you modeled for Francesca Ferrago's line.
She's amazing.
How did that come about? Tell me all about it.
I took a client I shouldn't have when I was with the old agency.
Sorry.
I know, look, I'm so problematic. Oh my god. But yeah, I was with a certain agency and I wasn't getting any work, and I was like, I don't even care anymore. And they wouldn't let me take the small gigs. So she hit me up. It wasn't like a crazy campaign. It was like small money, but it was so dope. And she was like so much better than I could have imagined. I think it's really dope when you meet someone and you kind of have a bad bias about them. Not in like I didn't have horrible things, but I was like, it's gonna be some Instagram rude girl, you know? Like, and I didn't really know who she was like that. Like, I don't even do my research at this point. Like, I want to try to like know you for who you are. She's like the sweetest soul. I'm queer. She's like huge on that. Like, she was just, it was awesome. Like, I fuck with her.
I love that. You guys look so good. She actually reached out to me as well, so I might be doing season 2 of Francesca.
My God,
I know, and I love her. I'm just like, and when I watched, so Francesca is on Too Hot to Handle season 1. If you guys saw that show, she was like the girl in the house that all the guys wanted, and like it was like weird because like on those shows usually people like pair up like, oh, I like this one, I like this one. No, it was like 5 girls, 5 guys. All 5 guys wanted Francesca. Okay, she was that girl.
I still haven't seen it. I need.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
Her. Yeah.
I love Chloe. Like, I mean, obviously Francesca, but I love Chloe because she's so cute and like. Yeah. Anyways, when you watch it, you'll see like she's just so adorable, like the way she talks and stuff. But yeah, so I love her.
Do it. You have to do it. She's like, I think she's a really amazing human. Like. Which I love. Like, if I think you're a good human, like, I fuck with you for real.
Me too.
Yeah, and she's a good human. Like, she'll reach out to me. I mean, we don't talk often, you know. She's famous, you know. But, like, randomly, she'll comment on my TikToks. And, like, anytime I'm talking about, like, inclusivity and stuff, she comments. And that just means a lot, too, because she's pushing that on her platform. Like,
right. So you say, like, you talk about inclusivity and you being queer. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, when did you discover yourself in that area?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up Catholic, like a lot of Caribbean people. Homophobic as fuck. Go to the islands, homophobic as fuck. Okay, I'm not gaslighting. Homophobic. I have a love-hate with the Caribbean because of that. But like, it's so funny because now I'm like, oh my God, you were so gay your whole life. You were so gay, Mahala. Like, signs after, like, all my friends were gay. My mom sent me to a private Catholic school. They were gay. Like, how are they gay at a private Catholic school? They were all gay. All my guy friends, flamboyant, gay. All my girlfriends, eating high school pussy, sneaking at sleep, like gay. Everyone around me was gay, but of course I was like, not me, I'm straight. And then and then by the time I was like 18, all my friends are gay, so like my friends started plotting on me. Okay, and
not plotting on you.
They were plotting, all of them.
So what's your coming out story to your Caribbean family? What was that like?
I wish I had like a story. It's been more like random, like word burst. Like, so all my cousins know because they follow me on social media. I've been like gay as hell, you know, but I never like, I hadn't dated a woman serious enough to bring her home. So it never really mattered because I technically brought home men. And so they just assumed, I mean, but then when I was a full-time artist, I was like painting vaginas, like for Amber Rose Slowwalk. So trust me, like mom knew, but was like, we won't talk about it. Like dad too, like that's my new joke. Like really, y'all don't know I was painting vaginas all the time. And then my dad like paints. I'm like, would you paint penises? He was like, I guess that is gay. Yeah, I wouldn't. Like, yeah, no, you wouldn't, bro. Deadass. So with one of my sisters identifies as queer too, and she's really an activist, very outspoken in our family. I'm actually the quiet one. So she kind of actually just started telling everyone I was queer, thinking they knew because like I'm super queer on social media. It wasn't that I was hiding it, but like I said, it just wasn't relevant. And I think I just knew how homophobic my family was. But then this year I was like, I could be leaning more towards lesbian than even... I guess you can say I'm pan. I say queer, but like pansexual. But I was like, I may be lesbian. I was kind of discovering that this year, or maybe I'm not. Whatever, we'll see. We'll have an update soon. But yeah, so this year was just kind of like whatever. And I was with my dad one day, and he said something. I was like, I mean, Dad, I'm probably gonna end up with a woman. And he was like, what? You know, like what? And it was a whole thing for a while, and now they're over it.
Okay,
you know?
wow.
Over it within reason, you know.
Okay, so I saw a picture on your Instagram of you in a white wedding dress kissing another woman in a white wedding dress, and I thought that was your wedding picture. I thought you were married to this woman.
I captioned it. I got married today, so there's that.
Okay, so tell me about that picture.
I'm such a clickbait motherfucker. Okay, y'all. No. Bunny is someone, I'm single right now, but you know, like I'm casually dating. So Bunny's someone I'm dating, and she cares. She's a model as well. She cares a lot about inclusivity. And I was telling my agents actually that like I want to be the face of pride campaigns. Like that really matters to me. Like I would rather us start pushing more of like who I really am within my modeling. Like I want to be more than a model. I bring a lot of aspects to the table, and they were like, okay, like cool, we do submit you, but like do you have a partner? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay, well, they're like, we're definitely not saying you have to, but we've been submitting you for that from day one and we don't get any bites. They're like, do you have anyone who is like willing? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. And they were like, it just makes a difference. And even if it's like a friend, they're like not trying to fake it, but like it's easier to like put a couple out. And so I hit up Bunny immediately, you know, I'm like, what'd you do? She was like, hell yeah, you know, and we did it and it was fun. And it was one of my good friends who's in the community too, so she shot it and it was just like a big gay moment. But I also just feel like there's not a lot of femme on femme representation, and it was really important to me too. I did shoots outside of with Bunny with some other models too, but I just wanted, like, I don't ever see Black femme and femme couples, so that was important to me.
For sure. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I had a former marriage former matchmaker on my show, episode 7. Her name is 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿, and she is a femme lesbian who likes other femme lesbians. And she was talking about that. She's like, there's not a lot of representation for femme on femme. Like, she wants more of that and she doesn't see it. So I love that people are more promoting something that needs to be shown, because there are people that are into that.
Yeah.
You know?
So originally I think it was like, yeah, I would love to be those campaigns. Like, so I think first it was strategic for me. And then when I started planning it, I was like, actually, this is really important, like, to see this, you know? And even that, like, you just don't, like, and I remember, like, it went viral on Twitter, like, people just don't see that. Like, people don't see couples like me and Bunny, you know? So I think it was really powerful and dope. Yeah.
I didn't know her name was Bunny. When I mentioned Bunny earlier, I was talking about the bunny that's associated with Rolling Loud.
I don't know about, so I posted a video saying I just got off the phone with Bunny and we were talking about something, but Bunny.
Oh, you're talking about the bunny in your.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a bunny associated with Rolling Loud.
Okay, see, I didn't know. Okay, that was the confusion. That's why I was like, yeah, no, that's not. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops, Rolling Loud. They're probably like, I don't even know this girl. Poor Bunny. Sorry, Bunny.
Poor Bunny. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's so cool. So what are your goals coming up? Like, you know, you said you want to be the face of Pride and you want to do those things. What do you see in like the next couple years where your career is going and where you want it to go?
Yeah. I think I hate the word activism, putting that on myself, because that requires so much work and I'm not there yet, you know? But activism is really important to me. And I feel like I'm never fulfilled unless I'm like giving back and making a difference with my voice. So of course I want to model, and I feel like the platform it's going to give me is going to be so important for my career, but I want to be like a model that is speaking out on shit. Like, even that, like, I want to talk about that industry, because this industry is glamorous, but it's also not. Like, and like, even I promote that a lot on my TikTok. Like, a bunch of girls, I put a lot of like how you can get signed and all that out, but I always have to tell them too, like, as a Black woman, let alone a Black plus woman, don't think this shit's easy. Like,
can you tell us a story and give us an example of like what problematic things that you're talking about in this industry that you face or you've experienced that you feel like
the industry is colorist as fuck, period. I'm sick of models acting like it's not. If they want a Black girl for a campaign, I think high fashion is like pushing more darker girls probably for an agenda, but like for the most part, if they want a Black girl, they're gonna pick someone who looks more European, period, whether that's hair or whatever. They still don't hire enough stylists that know how to do Black hair. My hair is very easy to manage and I have issues, so I can only imagine the girls with coarser hair, because my hair is very easy to manage. Yeah, it's just racist. This industry is fucking racist. And then anything, it's maybe not homophobic, because luckily there's so many like gay men on set, you know, but I mean, it's still homophobic in many ways. And I feel like even like everything that is inclusive is to get their inclusivity check. Like, I really believe if the industry could have it their way, it would still be white, blonde, blue-eyed girls, like skinny, period. But I think the world is just changing, so they have to change. But I really do believe a lot of these clients do it to say they did it, you know? So,
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing that you want to make a difference, and that's like part of your platform, that you want to push that, because that's like the real you. And I feel like people need to see more authentic selves, more people being real and authentic about what they want to see, what's going on. And the fact that I'm even inspired that you say that you see changes, that you see things that are changing, that are happening. And I see it too. And I love that. And I feel like the more we push that, the more people that we see, the more normal it becomes. And I feel like we need to normalize fat bodies, plus bodies, black bodies, trans bodies. Like we need to normalize these things because like people exist. We can't just ignore people just because we have a bias towards them. That's not right. That's not a good thing to do, you know? So I just love the representation of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So can you name a couple of maybe dream clients or dream campaigns that you would want to be associated with?
Yeah, definitely just anything like Pride, just to like, I mean, I would cry if I saw me on a Pride billboard, you know. I would love to work for brands that I think really are inclusive. Like even, and people may drag me for this, but I find Skims inclusive. They hire every shape, body, color, and they're one of the first brands to do it to that level on a lingerie or undergarment brand. So, I mean, people have their issues with Kim K, but I mean, I would say her company is inclusive as hell, you know? And so like, yeah, I want to work for companies that actually want. I want to work for companies that pay proper rates to Black models. I don't think it's so much of like who I want to work with. Of course, like I have a list of things, but I want to be seen. So, you know, if that's like, I just did a big campaign with Walmart. Some people are like, Walmart? I mean, it was the most I've ever made, and it was a huge campaign. I'm probably going to be in all the stores in the US. Like that's, yeah, so I'll work for Walmart if Walmart's paying and Gucci isn't, you know, like it's whoever. I mean, of course I want to get into high fashion too. When I was with IMG, that was kind of the direction my career would have went, but I also don't have an issue with ecom. And I also don't, like, I'm still humble. Like I worked for a small business recently that barely could pay, and my agents were like, do you even want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah. It was like a woman-owned sister business, like yeah, like and they don't have the same funds as big companies. So yeah, I don't know if there's like really specific clients. Of course I get excited about some, but yeah,
I love that. Is there any like lasting words or something you want to leave with someone who's hearing your story that maybe is coming from a small town who is Black or plus or queer, or anything that you've like that's part of your platform? Is there anything that you would say to them like as an encouragement if they wanted to be in your shoes one day and come towards the direction that you're in with your career right now?
Yeah, for sure. We all have to start from somewhere, you know. But I'm being real, within this industry, I do not, like, you have to get out of your small town. So you have to be ready to make moves, like, but take advantage of your small town. But like, yeah, you have to be ready. Like this industry, just like you're in LA now, but you were in New York, like you have to be ready and willing to just like sacrifice it all if you want it. Honestly, it all. And that's why I say this industry sucks. You have to sacrifice it all, you know? Like, yeah, but I mean, it will be worth it if it's what you believe in and what you want, you know?
I'm so happy that you said that because I've been dealing with that. Not dealing with it, like I'm pretty used to it now, but I've sacrificed a lot for my career and to get to this point. And the moving has like made my friendship suffer, made my relationship suffer because have a goal and I'm going for it and I have to push everything.
What are friends? You have friends? Like you're damn near my friend, because what, like, I'm like, even now I'm starting to blow up. I'm on a plane like every, like I can't even tell you. I was telling him when I walked in, I can't even tell you what day of the week it is. No idea. Like, no, I live in chaos. So I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I love that we can come together like this and kind of like let people know a little bit of insight of what's going on. There's no gatekeeping here, because when I was a little girl, I was like 11 years old trying to Google how to become an actor or model, and all, because I've known since I was little that I wanted to do this. And now that I'm in it, we're able to, like, how we have a platform, we have a career now, we're able to tell the people a little bit of insight, what it's like to be in this industry, being in the bodies, living in the bodies that we live in, and having the background that we do. And it's an important story to tell. So I'm so happy and so grateful that you're here and that you came on the Gabby Fe podcast to tell us your story, and so that we can get to know you more. So what is your like follows, like what's your Instagram and things, and people can follow you after this episode?
Yeah, I'm like HALA the Hustler on everything, and then I do a bunch of other stuff, but you can usually find everything on there. So HALA_the Hustler.
Yay!
Yes, well, thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you, HALA, for being here. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this episode, please thumbs it up. Comment below what you liked about this episode, what more discussion you want on the things that we discussed, and thank you for tuning in every week. Every Friday we have a new episode, so come back again next Friday for another one. And thank you for coming. We'll see you later. Bye.